I'd like to welcome the community to our very first Hopkinton Hangout Hour. During this time, while our community is looking to socially isolate and keep our distance, we want to step in and try to keep us connected virtually. So I know the quality of this is not what you usually expect from HCAM, but the emphasis here is on connecting community, getting people talking, getting people to share their stories and be able to, get some information along the way too. We'll be hosting these shows Monday through Friday from 2 o'clock to 3 p.m. We'll also have other episodes at other times as they rise up. If you're interested in getting involved with us, either as a participant or potentially even hosting your own half hour or hour, please visit our website, hcam.tv/hangout. With me today is all of us. These are the 5 people that work at HCAM to try to bring you TV shows. And we're here to introduce ourselves to you and our new program. So, gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you. I'm Bob Hamilton. I do most of the government meetings. I'm sure you've seen me on TV once in a while, and I'm glad to be a participant in this.
Great.
And I'm Mike Terosian. I'm your production coordinator, and I produce TV shows, which I'm getting done right now, except for this one.
I know, that's a fact. All right, Tom.
I'm Tom Nappy. I'm the HCAM News Director. I do the weekly newscast typically and publish all the information going on in town on our website and social media, and I'm happy to be with you today.
Okay, and now somebody who you may not see all the time, unless you are an HCAM insider, in which you'll see him weekly. Mm-hmm. Matt, say hello.
Hi, I'm Matt Clark. I'm the master control operator at HCAM. I'm the one who makes everything play on the channels. And you would see me on the HCAM Insider, and you might also see me on the channels on my show Geek Week.
Geek Week, yes. I assume we'll be getting some Hangout Geek Weeks at some point, hopefully.
Probably. I'm working on that now, actually.
Okay. So the first thing, let's just acknowledge the fact that we're working from home now, trying to help stop the spread of the coronavirus. So how has that been going for the 4 of you? I know for me, much of my work I can do via computer over the internet, which has been very helpful to me. And we can check our messages remotely. So that's been good too. And I've been spending a lot of my time trying to build a network of people who are interested in participating in this show. So it's been very different. Usually I go into the office and I have kind of like an office mindset. So it's been an adjustment for me. How about you, Mike?
Oh, I can tell you, I am going nuts. You know me, I don't like to sit still. I don't like to be in one place all the time. I like to move around, especially when it comes to working at HCAM. I'm lucky enough to go on locations and not just sit in a studio. So it's very hard coping, getting a little weight here, sitting around the house. But it's been real tough. And with my other profession being a first responder, that's a whole different animal.
Okay, Matt, how's things going with you?
Pretty good, all considering. I am actually able to do my entire job from home. I can access almost everything from work on my home laptop, and everything that I can't access, like any shows we have saved on the HCAM drives, I can actually access now through Chrome Remote Desktop, which thank you, Jim, for helping me set that up last week. So I basically have access to everything I need. So I'm doing pretty good on that front. And other than that, just trying to maintain my sanity in my free time as best as possible.
Mm-hmm. And Bob, so I know, Bob, your job has been greatly impacted. So tell us a little bit about what's going on.
Yeah, it's, as I said, I do government meetings, and obviously we're not having government meetings, although tomorrow we will be trying to broadcast the school committee meeting in a similar fashion at a Zoom hangout. And we'll be doing that from 7 to 9:30, depending on how long the meeting may go. And that's really our first attempt at broadcasting a government meeting from somewhere outside of the town hall, the school library, the senior center, or even the town library. So it's going to be a little different for me because I'm not as technically intelligent as, for example, Matt, who you can see has his headset and he's doing his gaming and he's in the Geek Week. For me, I'm lucky I can look in the camera and see myself. And as long as that comes across, I'm fine. But I'm hoping that with all the things that are coming up in town about the town meeting, the budgets, we'll be able to get some of the information out to the town. Maybe not as well as we did during public meetings, and people may not have the opportunity to participate the way they wanted to. But in the future, this may end up being the only way we can communicate, or at least it'll be an ideal way of getting some of the information out. So I look forward to it happening over the next few weeks, months, hopefully only weeks, and maybe we can improve on it as we go along, get some feedback from the town as to how this information comes across to you if you're watching it on TV, and what we might be able to do to add to the TV experience. I know if you're watching it on YouTube or on the internet, you have access to a lot of different features. But if you're just sitting there watching it on TV, you're forced to just look at me and listen to me, and that may not be something you wanted to do. So I offer the option that you might be able to get involved some other way, and I look forward to that.
That's really insightful, and I agree. Hopefully we will be getting back to normal at some point, but it's a very interesting how everybody is still working to try to get as much information out there as possible. And now, Mr. Nappy, news director, how's everything in your land?
Well, it's going well, and there's a lot of parts of my job that I could still do from home, such as posting the various press releases that are sent to us, as well as keeping people up to date on our social media. But it's certainly been different. There's a lot of things I miss. I miss getting out there, covering the events, talking to people, and well, I miss sports. So it's been different, but we're doing what we can and trying to participate in the social distancing and stop the spread of this terrible virus.
Yes, I know what you mean. Um, so actually, this is our first show. Mike, did you look at us on YouTube? Are we live on YouTube? Did you say that?
We are live on YouTube and we are live on HCAM.
Okay,
Okay.
good. I didn't see us on YouTube. I was worried.
Yeah. Matt was worried, and so he worried me by sending me a text while we were talking. Okay, Mike, thanks.
Good. I just didn't want to mess up the stream with it. If that was but if that's
Well,
what we're doing, that's fine.
Let's be honest. That's why we're going first.
That's fair. That's completely fair.
Proof of concept, and if there is an issue, then we would discover it. So, Tom, that's really interesting what you were saying, and also, I think that you've also been exploring, other than Zoom, doing interviews via Skype as well.
Yes, we'd like to do some pre-recorded interviews and get information out there to the community. So we've looked into Skype, which is a great program. So we're certainly hoping to get some people around town to talk to us about what's going on and keep everybody out there informed. So we're going to be doing many different things that we haven't typically done in the next few weeks, but it's going to be an interesting experience, but I think we're still going to have a lot of fun doing it. And I'm looking forward to doing the show every weekday too. I think it's going to be great just to have many different topics and many different people from around town talk to us. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
And what I find fascinating about that is, in one sense, you may consider, what, this is what we're reduced to, but community is actually in our name. And this is what we have. We have community. And Hopkinton is a great community. It has a lot going for it. It has a cool history. Of course, we have the marathon that starts here, and we have some unbelievable community groups and businesses that all work together to make Hopkinton a great place to live. And so when I was thinking that, oh, we're reduced to this, we're actually reduced to focusing sharply and clearly on what is most important and valuable in life. And that is our community, which in a strange way, it makes me really excited that we're doing this. So, what I am looking for is to offer and provide as many ways for as many people to connect with each other and with HCAM and with Hopkinton as a whole, and to get as much information as we're able to during this time. So one of the main ways really would be through our website. We have all the information that we do, everything that we post, and all the activities are somewhere on that website. So who would like to talk for a minute about some of the stuff that they'll find on the website and some of the ways that they can connect with us through that?
Well, I
Jim,
guess I'll,
just before we do that, maybe I can point out, as we talked about, this is maybe a new norm for us for a while, and maybe Matt can express. Recently, we were asked by the town hall to go live on HCAM TV with a webinar that they were producing.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, we didn't have that much time to do it live, but we did eventually get the tape, and I know Matt has posted that to YouTube. And if this can be viewed by other town agencies and groups, it gives them an idea of what they can expect to see happen if they can let us know so that we can get it out in the community.
Right. In fact, I'll respond to that. So, Tom, you're on hold for a minute talking about the website, because I also wanted to mention that I have been contacted by various groups and organizations, including the library, including the senior center, including some religious organizations, saying we typically do things that have large groups of people and we cannot do them now. So how can we do them and get them out to the community? And what you're watching right now is really the best possible way to do that. We could have a lot of people who join this Zoom meeting, up to 100. And in addition to the 100 who can actually be part of the meeting, our entire community can watch it. Comcast, Verizon, our YouTube live stream, they can connect to it that way. So our audience is still there. In fact, our audience is really there more often than they usually are. So I am working and kind of like trying to get people lined up and figure out what they want to do. So you should be seeing more content coming that way. And of course, if anybody's out there who wants to talk to me directly, you could just drop me a line at jim@hcam.tv. So with that aside, let's talk a little bit about the website, Tom.
well, I also want to mention that while we're doing this show, we'll be taking comments on Facebook and YouTube. So we'll be looking at the Facebook page as well as the YouTube stream. So if you have something you want to say, you have a question you want to get in, just send us a comment. We'll be happy to throw it in there. But on the website, we have a coronavirus nerve center type of page, which is all the latest information about what's going on with the COVID-19 pandemic. And you can find various press releases from the town, as well as many town businesses and services that keep you up to date with the latest. So that's right on the top of our website page, hcam.tv. And we're also going to be looking to share things from our experiences, and we're hoping that you'll share some things from your experiences, such as pictures. We just had a great post last week about games that you play during this lockdown type of event. So we'd love you to send us some pictures. Let us know how you're doing out there.
Okay. And a quick shout out to Margie, who has emailed us since this show began, saying watching now and fun. You'll actually be seeing more of Margie in the future too, because she's got some great ideas to share with our community. So thanks so much for that. And that was a really good point, that I didn't touch upon. The possibility for those who are viewing to connect with us during that. Now, obviously, we can't have everybody in Hopkinton on this Zoom video, but I am looking for ways to uh, make it easy and make it natural for you, the viewing audience, to actually be here, because you know what? We want to hear you and we want you to be heard. We want you to be able to share your stories and be able to talk about what's happening in your life. So, we've had some conversations about that and we're going to be working on that. But as Tom said, I just want to reiterate that yes, feedback through Facebook and Twitter and email is fine. The one thing I wish I could add to this show, guys, is graphics. You know, if we could put up some graphics while we're doing the show, would be really great, because some people learn by listening and some people learn by seeing. Those are their strengths. Um, so, quick question: is anybody watching Facebook right now? In case we get any comments.
I've been
Um,
keeping an eye on it.
Okay.
Nothing yet. But if you have a question you want to ask us, something you want to say, feel free to leave us a comment. I'm also watching the YouTube stream as well, so you can leave us a comment there also.
Okay. All right, good. Oh, and by the way, I didn't mention this at the top of the show, Tom. I should have said who is coming in on the second half of the show. You want to just mention that?
Yeah, that's a good point. We're going to have Water Sewer Manager Eric Carty in for the second half of the show. He's going to talk to us about what's going on at the DPW and the Water and Sewer Department, some of the things that they've been doing over there. And he's also a weather enthusiast, so hopefully he has a good long-term forecast for us.
Boy, I hope so. Can you believe that snow? I was like, where did anybody else know that snow was coming? It got me
No, I had
completely
no
by
idea.
surprise.
I thought it was supposed to be all up north. But Jim, while I'm on, Abby Rosenberg, she's watching on YouTube right now, and she asked how to join, and I answered her to send me an email, and we'll schedule her on the show. And also Laurel Kuba with a comment, great job, everyone.
Oh, that's really awesome. In fact, you know, Abby's a great lady, and we've been emailing too, and I am definitely looking forward to having her on. And Laurel, you know, I was talking about some of the religious leaders in our community, and she is one of them. She's a fantastic person.
Yeah,
So,
great representative of the sanctuary at Woodville. And right now, just so you know, we are up to 8 on the YouTube.
okay,
Wow.
all right. So, so far things are going well. Um, how have people been experiencing Hopkinton lately? Like, I know that we're supposed to not be driving around when we don't have to, but of course, you know, we'll need food and we may need a prescription refilled or something like that. And I know Mike, um, you know, as a firefighter, you have to be out and about going to your job too. So, what's the experience been like lately?
Well, as far as when I'm working, we try to stay out of as many places as possible and go when you need to. I noticed when I went to CVS the other day, up to the counter, they set the credit card payment machines away from the counters on carts. So you approach the counter with your goods, then step back, then the clerk comes in, rings it all up, you pay for it, he bags it or she bags it, and then steps away, then you step up and get it. Everyone is doing their part to make things safe. Um, Restaurants that are open now for takeout offer curbside service. They they want to keep their employees safe as much as possible, so they do what they can. And I see, like the picture we put on the shoot the other day, how desolate downtown looks, and that showed you everyone is taking this seriously and doing their part, because we don't want to be here forever.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else?
Speaking, oh, sorry, Jim. Speaking for myself and my wife, I know that we appreciate the fact that several of the grocery stores in the area, especially Price Chopper, had allocated certain hours for seniors and made it a lot easier for us to and we felt more comfortable going in early in the morning, getting our products, and getting out, and they made it a lot easier for some of the seniors in town, I think, to get around. So I'd like to put a shout out to Price Chopper and thank them for that.
I thought that was a great idea when I saw that. But the only question I have is, do they have extra toilet paper there when you're in the early morning?
Well, not the first day, but they did have it the second day. I don't suppose it lasted very long. I don't know why, but there were packages of like a dozen rolls that were available. If anybody needed any, they could have told me. I would have picked it up for them. I don't know if that's going beyond the rules, but
Yeah, I went to the grocery store I typically go to, and there is no protein. There is no chicken there whatsoever. And what they did, which really made me laugh, and I should have taken a picture of it. You know those Purdue shortcuts, those little packages of
sure.
chicken? They put those in a row all along where the chicken breasts used to be. I was like, whoa. So we actually this week we bought like a little roaster because there are no oven stuffers. We bought like a little roaster, and that made a nice meal for us this week.
Well, when I went talking about no protein, there was also no carbs. The whole Price Chopper, the whole pasta aisle was barren, with the exception of 6 boxes of lasagna and these little tiny noodles. I think that go in like a soup or a couscous. I don't know what it is. I never seen them, but they were so small. So I says, "Oh boy!" So I wound up grabbing the lasagna, and I got some ricotta.
I
But
can't. Yeah. Go
it's
ahead.
it's really tough to see, and they're doing their best. I mean, these grocery store workers, they're in the front lines too. They're very essential to keeping us all fed and at home like we're supposed to. And Jim, while I have the mic, 11 are watching now. I want to say hello to John Ritz, who's watching, and Darlene Hayes, who just said hi and said we're doing a great job keeping this community connected. Thank you, Darlene.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Talking about the shells. I can't believe there's no pasta. I guess that's because it keeps, right? And you can just make a campfire and you can just boil some water and cook the pasta should the apocalypse happen now. Tom, what's been your experience moving around outside?
Well, I think it's kind of almost the same everywhere. A little airy, a little quiet on the roads. People, for the most part, are staying inside. The grocery stores always seem to be packed. Uh, it's been a little difficult getting some of the things that I've wanted, but for the most part, I've been able to find a place that has what I need. But it's certainly been different. It's just a different situation for everybody, and I think a lot of people are probably missing going out with their friends and going out on the weekend nights. But hopefully, very soon, everything will be back to normal. But for now, it's really just about keeping everybody safe and doing what you can to uh, pitch in on this social distancing.
Right, right. And Matt?
Well, I, I feel like my experience is a little bit different. I live downtown on Grove Street, so like there are still cars coming down, and there are still people walking their dogs around. So it doesn't feel too different for me. Um, I think the biggest difference is socially. Like I have only seen my friends in person once since this started, and we normally go out for dinner together every Wednesday to catch up. And so we did a version of that last week where one of my friends ordered the takeout from the restaurant we normally go to, um, and we met at the Common in town, and we sat 6 feet apart each, and we ate the food we normally ate. So I don't know if we'll do that tonight just because of the weather, but we're making do, and we're just trying to get through this as best as possible.
Yeah. Go ahead, Bob. You're gonna say something.
Yes, I did. One of the things I've noticed, and I've been in town a long time, it seems over the last week, especially, maybe not today because the weather's not that great, and maybe you can ask Eric about that. He can fix it. But for right now, I've seen a lot of families out, mothers, fathers, children, riding their bikes, walking. They're taking advantage of the time together. And I've heard from some individuals, I won't say who they are, a couple of them are teachers, that they're realizing that, you know what, maybe this isn't such a bad lifestyle. I like being home with my children. I like doing things with them. And I like not having the pressure every day. Of course, you have to balance that against having the paycheck as well. But I think it's giving people a new awakening to what life is really supposed to be about.
I think that is really, really impressive, um, and
What, that I came
meaningful.
up with that?
Absolutely, yeah.
It's
Although
insightful.
of all of us, I expect you to be the most wise.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes it's the most grumpy, but I like that.
Those
But
go hand
because
in
you know
hand.
what? Because you know what, Bob? When I look at my kids, I just feel that I have more life experience than they have, and I see things in a different way. And you have even more perspective than I have. Um, so I do listen to that very carefully, and I think that's really, really important because you know what? In all the worry that people have, they may miss that. They may be wondering, oh, how bad is this going to get, and how short our supply is going to run, and I mean, am I going to have a job? There's just like so many worries out there. Um, to be able to take some perspective on that and not miss what you have in front of you because you're worrying about something um, that may be happening in the future. That's important. All
Yeah,
right.
I have to
Good.
agree. I did want to mention a couple of comments that we got on YouTube.
Please
We had a
do.
comment from Laurel. She's living towards Wood Street. She's enjoying much less traffic on the roads. So some people are enjoying the lack of traffic that we've had recently, and I guess that is one of the very few positives at times.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. We have just a couple minutes left. This is just a quick aside for you people at home. We're going to talk shop for a minute here. Matt, um, John sent us a text saying that the YouTube channel shows two shows, the live stream and Hangout hour. I'm assuming one of those is an event and one of those is the live stream.
Yes, I did
Okay.
have an event. I
When
guess it
we
didn't.
go live from the control room in this manner, it's always the live stream and not an event.
Okay.
Somebody please go into the comments area of the event and say, join us on our homepage, youtube.com/HCAMTV, because that way there they'll find us. And once nobody is left in that room, that event can be deleted.
Okay. Yep.
All right.
I'll
Oh,
do that.
and since we're talking shop, Bob, if you could tilt your camera down just a little bit, you'll
See,
look
I told you.
perfect.
How's that?
All right. So so we have 2 minutes left before we welcome Eric on board. Tom, how did Eric turn out to be the first guest on our show?
Well, he reached out to us. He had some important information he wanted to get out there, and so I said, "Come on the show, let's do it." So he's always a great person to talk to, always a great guest. So he'll come on the show and get some important information out there and let us know how everything's going at the DPW and with water and sewer as well.
Okay. So the important thing you just said there was he reached out to us. Um, we are in the communications business, and oftentimes we're so busy communicating that we could do a better job at reaching out. So I do encourage anybody within the sound of my voice that if you have something that you want to share, please reach out to us. Let us know. Let us know what you got. Let us know what you'd like to say, and we'd like to get you connected and get you on board. I've been getting a few really nice comments over the past couple of days about the job that we're doing, which means so much to us, especially at this time. We are powered by the volunteers in our community. And I can't share all their stories, but some of the people are just so awesome. And we really miss them so much. So we're looking forward to getting back in the studio and welcoming back all the crew and starting to make shows. So with that, thank you for the first half hour. We're going to transition over to the second half hour. And I see that Eric has just joined us. We can hear his audio. So, Tom, why don't you give an introduction and welcome Eric to our show?
All right, thanks, Jim.
Well, first off, Eric, thanks so much for joining us. And before we talk about water and sewer and the DPW, how's everything going with you?
Good, thanks. Like everyone else, getting a little stir crazy. It's been nice to, like I said, to have a little bit of a reset here. So we've been doing a lot of walking. I'm pretty thankful to have the water on one side of me and about 100 acres of woods on the other side. So we've been able to enjoy the outside while still being distancing from everybody else that's around. So we're making do.
And how's everybody at the DPW and the water and sewer department doing? And could you also talk about some of the procedures that have been implemented at the DPW and water and sewer department as part of this social distancing?
Sure. Yeah. So we are trying to do our part to make sure that we can still provide the essential services to the town, because of course we have to have the water and keep the sewer flowing. We've taken several measures to ensure that the guys and women down at the DPW can come in and work safely. We're having the building sanitized nightly, all the vehicles being sanitized. We're pretty much now just operating for emergencies only. We're not going into people's homes, not changing meters or anything like that. So it's pretty much just if it's an absolute emergency that we have to come to the home, then we'll make arrangements to either just try to get down into the basement, if that's what usually the issues are for us, to get in there to help keep everybody safe. We're also trying to, during the work days, keep everybody separated, keep everybody in their own vehicle, make sure that we're staying away from each other, because continuity is a big thing of keeping the system going. So we're trying to stay away, and we've got stations and tanks and various other appurtenances all around town. So we're trying to spread out and take care of those things on a daily basis while still maintaining the services that we do. I thank you guys for having me on. Is one of the things we've been trying to get through lately is a big issue we had last week, of course, was with the lack of toilet paper and of all the surfaces needing to be sanitized. We're having a real problem, not just us, but it's been on the news lately in several communities. Actually, I got to do one of these with Channel 4 coming up this afternoon, because they wanted to do a story on the same thing as just the sanitary wipes. We just want to remind people that it really shouldn't flush anything, other than toilet paper down there, because the wipes, rags, paper towels, all that can get into the pumps, jam them up. I mean, we were out till 2 or 3 in the morning last week trying to unjam 2 of our pumps that have become severely clogged from the wipes. So that's just one real thing that we want to stress out there. One of the other things, we've been on conference calls week for both the DEP for water and wastewater. They're meeting, doing these same type of calls with all the suppliers all over the state, keeping us informed, and we're asking them questions on how to proceed. So, it's certainly a unprecedented situation for everybody. So we're working through things as it goes. So just one of the other things I wanted to make mention of that they mentioned there, just let everybody know that based off of everyone's EPA and all their guidance, there is no risk for people with drinking water of getting the virus through the drinking water. We also have the added benefit that we do disinfection as well. So that's to kill any normal viruses other than this one. So I just wanted to get that point out there, that people shouldn't be concerned of that at all. So it's been challenging. I know we're trying to provide as much service as we can, and just ask for the public's help and consideration, during this time.
So I actually have a question, and this isn't specific related to that, but when you do have an issue, and when you were saying that a pump gets clogged, how do you find out about that? And what is the effect on the area before you get to the situation and correct it?
Well, all of our stations are alarmed. So if one of the pumps stops working, we'll get an alarm right away. We have guys on call 24/7. So we'll get that alarm. We'll go up, assess the situation. And in particular with the sewer, all the stations have 2 pumps. So that if one pump goes down, you always have a backup to go. But unfortunately, with this situation, there was just so many of these wipes and rags that were in the system. It actually blocked both of the pumps. So we actually had to call out pump trucks in the middle of the night. Thankfully, it was an area that wasn't a real high flow area. So we weren't as under the gun. to do it because it took several hours, and then we actually had to go back the next morning because it was so many because they clogged again to do that. So it's it was kind of an unprecedented situation for us to have both of the pumps go down at once because that generally doesn't happen.
So toilet paper only, right, Eric?
Yeah, well, we understand. People having trouble finding it, but it's everyone's benefit as well because the other adverse effect is that those wipes and the rags and everything can also clog up people's services, and then it's of course is going to back up into their house, causing them an even bigger problem in there. So we just want to make people aware of that for to benefit having any major issues at their homes as well.
And
I
Eric,
have a question for you, Eric. Oh, sorry.
Eric, I just wanted to point out in the rest of the town that is on private septic system, these things are not good for septic systems either.
Correct. Yep. That's unfortunately a lot of people don't realize they flush it and think it's gone, but that as well. Board of Health was jumping on board with our message, trying to get that across as well, because the suppliers that actually came out and helped us during the night, they've been going to many residents as well, because they have the same issue at the resident as you mentioned. So yeah, just want to be real careful because that, especially with your own home system, that can be very costly to repair if that has to be dug up.
Right. And the shame is the advertising and the wordage on the package. They are flushable. Yes, you can flush them down the toilet. They will flush. It's the damage it does to the sewer pipes, the sewer pumps, the septic tanks, everything. Then you got to get them cleaned out. When you get them pumped, it clogs up those hoses as well. They need to go in the trash, people, please.
Yeah, unfortunately, hopefully, maybe after this situation, they'll maybe someone in the FDA or somebody may even take that word flushable off of there, because we like to say there is certainly no such thing as a flushable wipe. So
I had a question for you, Eric. I wanted to know, because of the virus situation, has the water and sewer department had to just be reactive to problems, or are you still doing ongoing daily maintenance? Is the full crew still employed and on site?
yeah, unfortunately, we don't have a very big crew, and we've actually had several people out, so we've been really shorthanded as of late. So we're there. We're trying to stay away from each other. We're not doing some of the normal things that we would do in spring, like going out working on the system, for just the fear of we don't want to cause any own self-inflicted issues. Generally you can do things like flushing the system and repairing, not repairing, but replacing water lines and that such. But in order to keep everybody away and healthy, that stuff we're really putting on the back burner and truly only respond to their emergencies, or for some of the other departments like the gas company and others that still need to fix their leaks as well. We'll go out and doing markouts and the relatively simple things that can't have an adverse effect going down the line. And we've had some requests from some people that want to do some hydrant flow testing, but we're trying to, the issues with that is not looking to cause dirty water, which we obviously generally get into people's house to help try to flush it. We don't want to do, but it can also cause main breaks. So we're trying to put anything that's not really essential at this moment. We're really just trying to stay away from, just to try to keep everybody healthy. And our main focus is keeping continuity and keeping the water and sewer systems running during this time.
That's great, Eric. I got a question off of YouTube from John Ritz. He says, this is all fine, how you handle the town, but how you handle the lack of NHL hockey?
Well, I've been watching a lot of the old replays, so been going back and watching some of the Bruins games from watched one the other day against the Canadians from 1987.
Yeah.
And it was funny. It was when they were losing 2-0 and they scored 3 goals in the last 2 minutes. And I can actually remember after I started seeing it on the TV and watching that one live. So that's how I'm getting my my sports entertainment, rewatching the reruns. Thankfully, they're all wins, so that's the only bad thing. You know,
Yeah.
not win. But they're still fun to watch.
And Eric, you're also a weather enthusiast, and the other day we got some surprising snow. Can you talk about, and you're good at the long-term forecasts, can you talk about what we can expect? Are we going to see spring weather anytime soon, or are we going to get another snowstorm? What do you think?
Yeah, well, I can't take credit for mine because I'm only repeating what I read online. I'm lucky enough to follow some pretty good sources. Unfortunately, to be honest with you, we've had so much going on with emergency meetings and all the DEP meetings and trying to get our plans in place. I really haven't got to look at too much of the stuff out there. They had initially said we were going to have a warmer than average spring, which for the most part they've been right on that part, but I haven't really got to see, or I don't know that they've gone too far out into what the summer holds yet. I know we were down quite a bit from probably February through January. We were really lacking the precipitation, so it was. I know most people don't like the rain, but we're kind of happy when we do get some rain here because it was nice to see between the snowfall and the rain. We did start to get some recharge. I know I live over here in Maspinock, and the lake was really filling up slowly due to the lack of rain, but that precipitation we had the other day was nice to see. And it was funny. I know that there was different totals going back and forth, but the couple of people I was watching online was saying, oh, there could be a good thumping, and they did call that part right. We did get a pretty good clip there. I think we measured about 3 inches here before the rain started.
Yeah, it's been one wild winter, just crazy weather and very dry winter as well. So I think it's going to be an interesting spring. What do you predict? You predicting a warm summer if you had a guess?
I think, just the way in terms of everything's been going lately, we've had the warmest start to a year, I think, ever so far, the first 3 months. So it looks like that's been the trend going all the way, back probably the last 6 or 7 years. So I think we're going to continue to have what we've been experiencing. We have our warm spells, and then that's actually produces more in the downpour areas. We got all the rain at once, and then it goes away, and then we have drought, and then we have rain. It's not the way it used to be. Like you had just moderation and it's simple normal stuff. So the new norm is having the extremes, but hopefully just not having them last significant amounts of time is what we all just have to hope for.
And also, what are some of the things that you've been doing in your spare time at home with the family?
Yeah, so one unfortunate thing we did is we just got done watching all 9 seasons of The Office before this happened. If I'd known, this was coming up, we were going to be stuck in, I would have waited. I didn't just have to watch all 9 seasons again. So that was good. But no, we've been doing some family things. My wife and I have been getting out on the weekends, going for some drives. I like to go up around the Wachusett Reservoir area. We took a nice ride over the weekend. Went up and did a tour all around, the Sterling, West Boylston area. It's a beautiful area up there, down by the Clinton Dam. So just, getting out, going on those drives, seeing the things. And, I guess it's unfortunate circumstances that the way this came about, but, it is kind of like we hit the reset button. It was kind of nice to maybe just slow down from the, we all live lives that are high paced and high action, and you don't really get to enjoy it. So maybe this probably was just maybe a good reset. One good thing, if it does come out of this, is everyone gets a little bit of a reset to calm their lives back down a little bit, hopefully after this is over.
Eric, I got a question for you as far as calming things down, and let's talk fresh water coming in, and the water pumps and the wells working. So now that we have most of the businesses closed in town, but everybody's home, are you seeing a difference in the way your pumps run and your wells are running?
Well, it's actually kind of evened out, Mike. It's a good question. Where the usage is about the same, but it's probably shifted exactly as you stated there. It's less coming from the businesses and more from the residential. I know I keep a keen eye on my meter to see what the usage is, and I know our usage here is almost doubled in the past couple of weeks from that. So that is kind of the shift. So overall, it's staying the same, but it's definitely shifted, back to more of the residential.
So then I'm guessing then you're going to see a more steady run than the peak when like everyone comes home or everyone goes to work in the morning. How those are your peak times? Are you seeing a more level usage during the day?
Yeah, we're seeing that in both water and on the sewer side as well, because we monitor all the sewer pumps and their runtime hours and that. So yeah, it is exactly what we're seeing in that thing with the trends.
So does that mean we can expect to see some water shortages again this year?
Well, again, it's all related to what we get for recharge. So we were always hoping that we have, plenty of rain to come in. So the one thing for us is we've had over the past, I don't know, maybe 5 years, I'm going to say, we've been lucky enough to have some pretty wet springs, but then it just always seems we get that wet spring is able to carry us through, and then we get that little bit of drought period, maybe 2 or 3 months. Last year was probably the exception. I think last year we didn't really run into any issues at all.
Right.
So that was great. So, as long as we don't have those very dry periods last too long, we can pretty much weather them through, so to speak. So.
Even though we've had limited amounts of snow this year?
Yeah, we started off. We had a very wet fall, so that really helped.
Yeah.
Going through November, December, we had some torrential rains, and I just remember that only because I went back through the totals not that long ago, doing some of my weather reports on there. So again, that was a real good blessing to have all that up front, where we didn't have the snow, because generally that would be concerning if you had a winter like we did, just have the one major storm early in December, because we count on that snow. The snow is actually better than having some of the rainstorms, because when you have the snow and get the slow melt, that's able to just work its way down through the ground. Whereas when you have the snow and then a bigger rain event, a lot of that will just wash out, go into the streams, and then wash down and won't get into the aquifer. So we've been kind of lucky to have that upfront rain that to help us make it through not a very snowy winter.
And if I
So
may,
go ahead, Bob.
if I may, I just want to say thank you for the job you're doing. I've been in town a long time, and I appreciate the work that the water department, sewer department, and DPW has done over the past 40 years that I've been here. I know I've been here for 40 years, but it's worked out well, and thank you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we're very blessed to have a great DPW crew. Both water, sewer, and on the highway side, we all work together. Especially times like this, emergencies. We've been. I mentioned earlier, we've been really shorthanded. We had a break we had to do on Main Street. People might have seen us up there a week ago Saturday, and we were so shorthanded. We had to have the highway guys. They came in, gave us a hand on Saturday, so we could get that knocked out and do it. So it is a great group. Everyone takes pride in their job, doing it. Take pride working for the town. So we enjoy it, and we thank you for your appreciation and everyone's appreciation. We do get a lot of compliments. A lot of people say it's a thankless job, but we do see quite a few compliments come through, and we are appreciative of that.
Well, I just wanted them to know when they're down in that hole up to their knees in water, digging at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm sound asleep in bed, I appreciate
it. Well, we thank you. Yep. And when we wake those people up that were in front of their houses, they're even nice enough to come out and give us coffee. They're not mad because they know we're getting the water back on for them. So we appreciate when that happens. Well,
so I had a question that kind of arose while you were talking. You were talking about how the weather is very important to whether we have water shortages and the snowfall and the spring rains and stuff. And I'm just wondering, is there a connection between the fact that you are our water and sewer manager and so interested in the weather?
Yeah, that definitely plays a factor into it, Jim. My best friend growing up, his father was actually taught weather. So early on, I was over his house all the time. I would always hear. He was actually the first person. I'm a weather watcher for WBZ, and Dick Whalen was his name. I think you know Dick because we had him do his weather stuff here on HCAM back several years ago. But he was the one who actually got me into it, and knowing that I do need it for work, it kind of just was a good fit. So it got me interested in it. Of course, the blizzard of '78, I think, got a lot of people interested in the weather. We had school shut down for a week because we couldn't even get out of the road. I think it took them the full week to get to our road over here on Oakhurst. So yeah, it does play together, and both of them fascinate me. So it is interesting to have it play a big factor in what I do for work as well.
And do you rely on digital tools and websites and the internet, or do you have an awesome weather station at your house?
I wouldn't call it awesome. I've got one of the garden variety weather stations, which is great. But I do follow. There's a lot of very smart and great websites, and especially on Twitter, there's some great feeds that do a lot of the long range stuff. So a lot of stuff that I see is what may be coming down 2-3 months down the line, and they really show you how things are formed, how they come together, how the weather actually happens, which is very interesting. The local meteorologists are great. There are a lot of them. It's changed over the years, and a lot of them are doing that now. They're doing a lot more of the education part of it too, where they let you know how these storms are formed, why they're formed, which is it's just very interesting, and to see the changes, kind of over the years of how things happening with the jet stream and the polar vortex, all those terms that have become prevalent over the past few years. They were always there, but now it's becoming more mainstream because they're bringing it to the public and educating the people on how the weather actually happens. So it's just a fascinating field to do that. It's just great to go out. I even like seeing, when they say the space station's going over. I've probably seen it 50 times, but when they mention it, it's going to be coming tonight. You're still going to go out and see it that 51st time because it's cold to do. So.
And since we mentioned hockey earlier, I might as well throw this one in. Supposedly, they are looking into uh, the Boston Bruins are looking into having TD Garden ice time in August. With your experience as a former coach who's been in many arenas, do you think they're going to have some major problems having hockey in August with ice melting?
Yeah, I mean, when the Bruins had their couple of cup runs those years, they had problems. Even when they got into late July. So I know most of the league is concerned about that when it does get into those months of, right now they actually took all the ice down yesterday. It was either yesterday or the day before they melted it just so they're not paying for all that refrigeration cost now. So that could be a concern of those conditions. Yeah, because even though the buildings are all modernized now and they have all the air conditioning, still just you have that amount of people in the building, it is tough to keep it going. So it could definitely affect the quality of play. So, it's something that will have to be watched when they are able to resume.
Yeah, it should be interesting. We certainly hope to see hockey again this season.
Yeah, and it just, it's such a disappointment too for all the schools, especially, you and I do the high school teams there, and to know that those teams that did make it further on didn't get to compete like Hopkinton did in the Garden last year, just missing that experience. It's just, a shame that, unfortunately that's what it came to, but it's just, heartbreaking for all those kids to not be able to participate in those sports that they normally do, especially for the seniors, where it was their senior year. So, kind of heart goes out to them, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think the worst part of that all was too with the teams that made it to the state championship didn't get to play in the state championship games.
Right.
Such a shame, but even though they didn't get to play in the game, all the teams that made it to that point should be very proud, and certainly Hillers hockey should be very proud for the incredible season they had.
Yeah, it's been a great program. When I first started coaching, when the team first started back in the 90s, winning one game was an accomplishment. But what Coach McPherson and O'Connell have done now, only having one loss is just phenomenal. So it's great sports program. And, all the Hopkinton sports are doing really well. So it's great to see that. Back when I was there, we didn't have hockey back then. So we had baseball. And I think we had about 2 wins over the 4 seasons I was there. So, but we had fun. So that was all that mattered back then. So.
I agree. It's really, as we used to say when my son was in center school, did you have fun? Then you won.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. I think we're about wrapping up. Mike, did you have another question you wanted to ask?
Well, yeah, and we're about to wrap up, and I know it's not water related, but it is. Eric mentioned the teamwork in these towns, how the highway helps out the water, vice versa, because it's one DPW, which even before it was a DPW, they always worked together. But all the departments work together, and just Eric and I got an email yesterday from the town manager that's out of the news now, and I just want to know how he feels about losing another team leader to our town, Chief Ed Lee.
Yeah, we'll certainly miss him. He's great. I've worked with him, just through our water department business and stuff, and as a member of the emergency management group, just a very, very valuable member. So he will certainly be missed. He's a great guy, very helpful. I know when my son was looking to go into taking law enforcement classes, he went up and met with the chief. The chief was great, explaining different options that are out there for him. He was going to colleges to what to really study in order to achieve something in that field. So he was a great guy. He will certainly be missed. It was a pleasure working with him. I wish him the best of luck.
Yeah, it's hard to believe it's only been 6 years. It seems like it's been longer because of the changes that he's done to the department, expanding the school resource officers. Now we have 3 officers instead of 1. We have the K9 program. He brought that back. What was the last K9 program you remember, Eric? And I know you know the answer. That's why I'm smiling.
Yeah. My former boss, Hank Fredette, with Lucky, he had the dog.
Yeah, so he bringing back the K9 program, and just increasing the detective force, and his executive officers as well, adding a deputy chief position. He's really the town has grown, and he was able to bring it where it belongs, and I think he's done a fantastic job.
Yeah, and unfortunately for me, I've worked for the town so long that I used to know every single policeman and every fireman, but now they've all retired. I'm still here, and I just starting to get to know some of the new ones, but they're all a lot younger than me, so it's going to take a while to catch up with them all.
It's nice that some of the younger ones have those family names that you know.
Yes, correct, correct.
And before we wrap it up with you, Eric, I think I should just have you get out there. If people want to know about DPW services or water and sewer services that are currently going on, or just find out some more information, where can they reach out to you guys?
Yeah, certainly. I know we have the website, the DPW website. We had a lot of information up. My email is up there. If anybody has any specific questions, we're always open to that. We just recently did something with the schools. Was able to take some kids that might not be looking to go the college route. I was able to take them down to labor's training so they could see what the trades are like. We gave them a tour of the DPW. We're trying to do what we can and give back to the community as well. So we're always open to that, and any ideas that we do. I used to go into the schools and give some presentations there when time allowed. And HCAM, has always been great to me, allowing me to do the different types of things we do on the edit to knowledge. I'd like to hopefully, when we get through this and get caught up, work with you again, Tom, to do just some more segments on different things. Show people how to check for leaks. How to check their water usage. Anything that we can do to help the public, and we're out there to do that. So we're always open to suggestions as well. So.
Can I ask, Eric? That made me think of one more question. There was a question about the water meters. Have all the water meters in town been updated?
We haven't got to all of them. No, we've had a substantial program going. We're making really good progress this year. I think we got in over 400 to 500 meters this year before we had to put a stop to that. So we've got a nice new system that's in place, and we are trying to modernize them. As soon as this is over, we will start that up again, getting back into the homes and start that program up again. And we're also working on some other additional software ends of it that will hopefully give the residents and businesses a lot closer look into their usages and be able to look at their accounts and what they're using on top of that. So we're trying to get that stuff up and running at the moment as well.
That's good.
Eric, these new meters have that technology that you could find out within hours whether somebody has a broken water main inside their house.
Well, that's one of the reasons we want to try to get up and running is, to give you, if someone's, a lot of the calls that we get, probably 99% of the calls we get for high usage is the toilet leaking, and people don't even know it because sometimes you can't hear it because it's actually leaking down quietly, and it's not until the water kicks on after that whole bowl is drained, you might not be near it. So that technology is going to allow us to get in touch with people sooner so that they know that they have an issue and can take care of it sooner, so they don't go the 6 months like they do now and then all of a sudden get surprised with a big bill. So everything we're trying to do is trying to help not only the department but help all of our residents and businesses too, so that they get a good handle on their usage and can make sound decisions based on the information that's available to them.
Excellent. And last thing that I want to ask you that you failed to mention is how can people follow you on Twitter?
We're at Hopkinton Water on Twitter, and we try to keep people updated when we have situations going on. If we're doing flow testing, or if we have a break, or if there's expected to be dirty water from anything else that's going on, we try our best to do it on there. We also I'm glad you brought that up, Mike. The other thing is we have on the town website is group emails that you can sign up for, and we use that. We don't use it all the time. We use it for to get the word out there for special things. So we encourage people to go. If you go to our website, the town's website at hopkintonma.gov and go to the DPW, we have all those links to sign up. And I encourage people, especially sign up for that link of getting the news links, because that's the easiest thing for me is just to send a quick email, because that email will then go to all the sources. It'll go to Twitter. It will go to the news. We'll call it a newsletter, but it's a news update. And, we don't inundate people with everyday things that you're going to get a full box all the time. We only do it when we have important things that go out there. So if the people were shy about signing up because they didn't want to keep getting things daily, it's not on a daily basis, but it is a very great tool for us to get the word out there. So we encourage everybody to sign up for that and be able to keep informed.
Great. And do you still put out messages through the town's code red for emergencies?
if there's an emergency that warrants it, we will still utilize that as well. Yeah, I think the last one we had was over the summer. We had a major water main break out on Woody Island, the kind that I always say you only see that in the movie. The water was 30, and we had to shut down the road going out to the island, which was a huge issue. So the guys worked through the night. We got the water temporarily and was able to get the road restored so that we get emergency vehicles in and out of there. So we will utilize anything that we need to get the word out to people when it's necessary.
Okay, Eric, thank you so much for the work that you do for our community.
My pleasure, and thank you for having me, and thank you for this forum. This forum is just a great avenue for us to get our word out to the public. So we really appreciate having that as well. And I watch Tom on the news every Friday night, and all the other shows that are produced on there. And all this, I get Matt's newsletter, so I'm reading his newsletter. And
All right, thank you. All right, and that is all the time that we have now. We hope that you'll tune in tomorrow at 2 o'clock for our next episode and join us and connect with us and just stay safe out there. All right, everybody, thank you.